Salutations to Parabrahma Paramatma, to Shruti Mata, to all the Rishimunu Guru Devata Parampara. Welcome, salutations to you all, wonderful Adhyatmika Sadhakas, Jignasus, Mumukshus, Shrotas, Sadhakas, and Shishyas of the wonderful Guru Parampara. Let us pray that the divinity blesses us for the crystal clear knowledge about our goal, means, and move ahead. In fact, what we do outside sadhana, though that is important because doing alone gives us a result, but for the doing to happen systematically, perfectly, for the doing to happen lovingly, willingly, joyfully, and while that doing is being done, if we have to conquer every inner and outer unsurmountable, seemingly disturbances, obstacles. What is required is the unambiguous, crystal clear knowledge. Anything done out of sentiments, out of emotions, out of obligations, out of any of the outer attractions or compulsions, misguidances, can never be done joyfully and also consistently. In spirituality, the results depend on consistent doing, and that too doing joyfully, willingly. Most of us do our sadhanas out of some sentiments, some emotions. That's why whenever those sentiments, emotions are very powerful and strong, we do the sadhanas madly as if. But once those go away, then again we are back to zero level of doing sadhana or not doing. That's how we are always in the up and down way of our spiritual life. And then what is the solution? Only solution is clear understanding, powerful understanding, thorough understanding, unambiguous understanding, deep understanding, well thought of and gained understanding, authentic understanding. When we have about what? About exactly what we have to gain or reach, along with the answer to the question why. You know, that alone has to be gained. If this conviction has not come along with the answer to the question why, then any moment there will be attentive. Chance for more and more distractions, more and more being carried away by anything. When we are convincingly going towards our pilgrimage, let us say Badrinath, so en route, 100 things are seen by us. But every lane, every gully, we don't turn and just get lost. Little bit we may go for some en route darshana or maybe taking bath in the rivers there or maybe some shopping or eateries. But do we forget our goal of reaching and having darshana Badrinarayan? No. That remembrance of that goal, clear conviction कि मुझे दर्शन करना है, that's what keeps on making my vehicle move ahead, even though in between little bit here and there I may pause. But if someone has got pakka, the goal is Badrinath Darshan first and foremost, nothing else. Such person not even will allow those small little pauses or stoppages also. In the same way, the lack of crystal clear understanding in us that Paramatma alone can be and should be the goal. Conviction. Therefore, temporarily, many other small little things also we are considering as goals and we are working for them. Thus, our time and energies are getting distracted towards them. This is one clarity. about the second, again, knowledge alone, which helps us, is what exactly to do as a sadhana on the path, and how exactly to do, and the how abouts about it. Then what it should lead to in the journey to go to the next step, which is the next step aimed at through this doing. One second. And if that knowledge is pakka, and because of that knowledge, yes, whenever we attend to willingness to do sadhana and reach the goal is also very pakka, and these two things we are always aware of, then any sadhana we do, which are prescribed by Shastras, which are given to us by the Guru, we will be able to do them without any of the distractions or stoppages or self created obstacles inadvertently. Finally, to all obstructions we only create because of we giving less importance to our goal and means more importance to these things at those various occasions. है कि नहीं? Like when I'm sitting for my japa or dhyana, so you have said for that, you do it, no? Reach out. But why hundreds and thousands of thoughts about the beings or the things or the places or experiences? They all come because I valued them some other time for any reason, and they became the vasanas, and they force us, or they come in our mind as thoughts at the time when we are seated for our sadhana. At least at the time of sitting for sadhana, if you are very strongly convinced that now I am sitting for sadhana, therefore no other thought I will entertain, at least to some extent we can do sadhana. But complete possibility of sadhana is only when from our heart no thing is given importance. This is why it's called as the Viveka and Vairagya, wherein nothing in our mind is important. With that mind, while being in the world, interacting with the world, we live so much superficially with the world, that none of the things of the world, happenings of the world, beings of the world become impression in us. This is very essential for a spiritual seeker. You know, anyway, if we give something an importance, a value, and taking it as a goal or source of happiness, then that goes inside as a impression. Then that becomes a thought repetition while we are trying to do the chosen sadhana, given sadhana. So, very clear, unambiguous understanding, clarity, knowledge. Then that knowledge is made available not after lot of time or time is spent in sadhana, and no, right from beginning only and consciously. The jnanam that what I have to achieve, jnanam that what I have to do for achieving it, and jnanam that how it has to be done. And while doing so, the strong conviction to say no to or avoid anything which is contrary to this sadhana. I know ये चीजें नहीं है ना, तो then our spiritual sadhana becomes a burden, a heavy load, a dukkha only. Then जब दुख के साथ करते हो ना, कुछ समय बाद छोड़ देते. Why people leave Vedanta satsang? Because it is dukkha. If it is sukha, why will they leave? सुख है तो छोड़ेंगे नहीं ना, दुख है इसलिए छोड़ते हैं. Why दुख है? Because a burden. Why the burden? Because the clarity is not there, loving willingness is not there, and the strength to avoid the obstacles. is not there. And like other places, wherever they go, the movies, the shoppings, the TVs, the friends. Why? Because the clarity they have, that from that source I get happiness. Conviction they have, then they have the clarity of how to go about it. And then they also have the clarity regarding any obstacles come, how to say no to that abruptly. Like you wanted to go to a movie and I called you. एग्जाम्पल है भाई क्लास है आप आ रहे हो क्या then what will you say when you're so convinced about it when the obstacle called me calls you such a strong wisdom you will have and all anything you will do हाँ स्वामी जी आई विल ज्वाइन यू कंटिन्यू वहाँ से लेकर के आई एम नॉट वेल और दिस वे दैट वे एनी नंबर ऑफ आंसर्स यू विल फाइंड है ना to somehow avoid this obstacle and continue because of your clarity of that purpose, your love for that goal or whatever it is makes you strong in walking towards it and able to encounter any obstacles en route. Same is required if you want to grow spiritually also. So, emotional, sentimental doing out of some obligation or compulsion won't last long, won't give joy. But if it is my own well thought of knowledge, conviction, acceptance, understanding, okay, even at that level, till it becomes a habit, the mind tries to pull us away. While doing so, it brings sentiments, emotions, dukkha's, all. तो उसको मैं कहना है मन आई एम डूइंग दिस जॉब why are you coming why are you poking why are you acting as if miserable so that I will attend to you and the mind's suggestions mind's emotions mind's miseries only no we attend for which we just give up our intellectually convinced sadhanas so if I can say if I become very careful in understanding the play of the mind and I am able to objectify the mind कि ये मन में ये वृत्ति आ रहा है लेजीनेस का वृत्ति और एनी एंजॉयमेंट का वृत्ति और बॉडी आइडेंटिफाइड देयरफॉर अ पेन इन द बॉडी वाला वृत्ति और हाउ लॉन्ग वाला वृत्ति है ना व्हेन आई बिकम अवेयर ऑफ दिस एनिमिकल एक्सप्रेशंस ऑफ माइंड एंड देन जब का तब उसको मैं काटते अपने साधना में लगा रहूं है ना दिस इज द जीनियस any number of times let that mind attack. I am not going to yield to it. At least for that 1 hour which you have chosen for sadhana. And make it a regular habit. And add slowly the joy to it. How do you add joy? With the idea that what I have chosen is the greatest of the goal and what I am doing the highest of the pursuit and the result of it will be so beautiful. Therefore, I must do it with all my zest and zeal. In this way, the joy, like a child, brings the joy for a sport, for anything. So too, for us, sadhana should bring that joy. We should long for it. We should wait for it. We should involve in it we should so much go into that nothing else should become important. ऐसा स्थिति को अगर हम पाए ना so then we'll be able to do deeply, effectively for long period of time sadhanas which is very very essential because the obtainment of the nischarata of the mano then focusing that nischara mano on the tattva then getting the glimpse of the tattva and slowly establishing in it it is a process long process of we don't know how many lives and how many years and all. Depending on Ishvara Krupa our prarabdha our runa to the world को क्या factors होते हैं कोई भी हो so therefore not bothering how long it takes But if we can achieve this ability, that lovingly, willingly, we are focusing on sadhana. And why is it so? How is it so? Based on the jnanam, based on the understanding, based on the conviction, not based on emotions, not based on compulsions, sentiments, or any obligations. No, I am not doing sadhana for these reasons. I know I am doing these classes for my own improvement, betterment. I am convinced about it. It's not a burden to me. It is not a load to me. It's not a heaviness to me. Whether it is devotion, whether it is dharma, whether it is karma yoga, whether it is yoga anga anushtanam or jnana marga, any marga, when it is done joyfully, you will enjoy doing and we definitely reach out. And when we don't enjoy it, anytime we give up. We enjoy anything doing when it is accepted by us. How? When we are thoroughly convinced by about it through our jnanam. And anything, anytime we have given up means there it was more than jnanam, it was some sentiment, some emotion which has put me there, some obligation. Oh, ho gaya. It is not my conviction. Therefore, once that inspiring aspect called, motivating aspect called sentiment or emotion gone away, then I give it up. But if it is my own knowledge, my own conviction, even God cannot stop me. So therefore, in our spiritual sadhana, these special ingredients also we have to keep adding. Okay, so let us do our class. Sorry, sound disturbance, I check it. Om. 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 Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartrubhyo Vamsha Rishibhyo Mahadbhyo Namo Gurubhya. Om Nidhaye Sarva Vidyanam Vishaje Bhavaroginam Gurave Sarvalokanam Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpada Shankaram Lokashankaram. Om Bhavata Janata Suhita Bhavita Nijabodha Vicharana Charumate Kalayeshwara Jiva Vivekavidam Bhava Shankara Deshikame Sharanam. Om Brahmanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrusham Tattvamasyaadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami Parabrahmane Shrutimatre Samastam Brahma Vidya Acharyebhyo Rishibhyo Munibhyo Gurubhyo Devatabhyo Namaha. श्री ऐतरेय उपनिषद आचार्येभ्यो नमः. अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः. संकल्पः तेषां सर्वेषां कृपा अनुग्रहेण उपनिषदुक्त ब्रह्मात्मैक्यबोधस्य अस्मिन् क्षणे एव अनुभव सिद्ध्यर्थं सनातनधर्मस्य वैदिक हैन्दव संस्कृतेः साम्प्रदायानां शास्त्राणां योगवेदान्त भक्त्यादि साधनानां प्रक्रियाणां पुनरुत्थान जागरण समस्त विश्व व्याप्ति द्वारा विश्व आध्यात्मिक प्रगति द्वारा विश्व शांति कल्याण एकता पुरोभिवृद्ध्यर्थम अस्मिन् धर्म संस्थापन कार्ये निष्ठित अस्माकं सह समस्त भक्त साधक गुरु आचार्य संस्थानां पूर्णायुरारोग्य ऐश्वर्य क्षेम स्थैर्य धैर्यादि सत् संपदा शक्ति साधना सानुकूल्यता प्राप्ति बाह्याभ्यंतर शत्रु विघ्न निर्मूलन द्वारा अस्मिन् धर्म संस्थापन कार्ये दिग्विजयार्थं श्री ऋग्वेदांतर्गत ऐतरेय उपनिषदः पारायणम् आद्य शंकर भाष्य समेत अध्ययनं वयं सर्वे करिष्यामहे। आदौ पारायणम्। ॐ मनस्तावतमशान्त्यै यस्य पादनखच्छटा शरदिन्दुनिभाभाति तं वन्दे नीलचिन्मणिम्। ओम अथ श्री ऋग्वेदांतर्गत ऐतरेय शाखांतर्गत ऐतरेयोपनिषद शांति मंत्र। ओम वांग मे मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविराविर्म एधि वेदस्य महानीस्त श्रुतं मे मा प्रहासीः अनेनातीतेनाहो रात्रान् सन्दधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारमवतु वक्तारम्। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। ॐ अथ द्वितीयोऽध्यायः पारायणम्। ॐ पुरुषे हवा अयमादितो गर्भो भवति यदेतत् रेतः तदेतत् सर्वेभ्यो अङ्गेभ्यः तेजः सम्भूतम् आत्मनि एव आत्मानं बिभर्ति तद्यदा स्त्रियां सिञ्चति अत एनत् जनयति तदस्य प्रथमं जन्म तत् स्त्रिया आत्मभूयं गच्छति यथा स्वम् अङ्गं तथा तस्मात् एनां न हिनस्ति सा अस्य एतम् आत्मानम् अत्र गतं भावयति सा भावयित्री भावयितव्या भवति तं स्त्री गर्भं बिभर्ति सोऽग्रे एव कुमारं जन्मनः अग्रे अधिभावयति स यत्कुमारं जन्मनः अग्रे अधिभावयति आत्मानम् एव तद्भावयति येषां लोकानां सन्तत्या एवं सन्तता हि इमे लोकाः तदस्य द्वितीयं जन्म सः अस्य अयमात्मा पुण्येभ्यः कर्मभ्यः प्रतिधीयते अत अस्य अयम् इतरे आत्मा कृतकृत्यो वयोगतः प्रएति स इतः प्रयन्नेव पुनर्जायते तदस्य तृतीयं जन्म तदुक्तं ऋषिणा गर्भेऽनुसन् अन्वेषाम् अवेदम् अहं देवानां जनिमानि विश्वा शतं मा पुर आयसीः रक्षन् अधः श्येनो जवसा निरधीयम् इति गर्भे एव एतत् शयानः वामदेव एवमुवाच स एवं विद्वान् अस्मात् शरीरभेदात् ऊर्ध्वम् उत्क्रम्य अमुष्मिन् स्वर्गे लोके सर्वान् कामान् आप्त्वा अमृतः समभवतु। ओम शांति शांति शांति। Easy to understand the second khanda, but before that Bhashyakara Adi Shankara gives us a lot of discussion through that, lot of very essential important understanding. The whole discussion is regarding how many Atmas are there, 3, 2 or 1. Purvapakshi says 3. Siddhanta is proving it is one without second Atma. Then is that Atma is the karta of the karmas through all the upadhis or not? Hmm. In that, one is Shruti Pramana, second is the Yukti, third is Anubhuti. Okay. So, in Shruti, it is said both Atma is the doer of all also and not doer also. And it is said to be Nitya doer also, and is said to be the Sakshi also. Druk Swarupa. So at each of the place, Shruti Mata, according to the development of the thought, according to the guidance to be given to the Shishyas or Vidyarthis, she speaks like that. but ultimately is the Paramatma within himself, is of no upadhi, therefore of no upadhi ke dwara doing of anything, he remains his own eternal immutable glory. That is ourself. That is the reality. Then everything other than it as an individual, you and I do through Padhi, or at the total level, as we saw in the first Adhyaya, the entire aspect of Prakriya of creation by the Lord Himself, which is said by Shruti herself, all are only imaginations, only not real. The reality is only the self. To that self, we have to reach and abide in it and play the play like a play, not as real. Then you are liberated. What is bondage? Bondage is taking the play as real and wanting to win in that play. A play is for sake of play. Once it is made into the issue of winning and losing, it doesn't anymore become the play. Then definitely someday one will win, other day other will win. Therefore, the pairs of opposite of Sukha Dukkha, Raga Dvesha, Jaya Parajaya, Shatru Mitra, all of that become necessary. All that put together is called samsara. See, these understandings of spirituality we have to have as soon as possible so that we learn the art of playing in the world the sport, not spoiling the sport to make it a fight. In fight, there are victories, losings, shatrus, and mitra. Not in a sport. Whole world is sport of me, the self. There is no loss or gain at its maximum level of total creation and total destruction. Nothing gained when creation is made. Nothing is lost when the creation is dissolved. आज जब शुरू और अंत इन दोनों में ही कोई विशेष मायना नहीं है, and between that, during that period of after creation, before dissolution, during that sustenance time also, how can anything can be so important that it takes away from us the sporting part and gives us misery. Very gambhira jnanam it is, but we have to listen it, no? We have to slowly analyze it. We should understand it. We have to accept it. Then life becomes smoother. Death and birth and loss and again, they all complementary to each other. Put together, they make the thing complete. One without other cannot. Either reject both of them or play both of them. I want one, not the other. I want only victory. Not possible. You have to accept defeat. I don't want defeat. Then don't expect victory. I want love. Then you get hatred also. But I don't want hatred. Then don't expect love also from others. Isn't it? It is like that. Okay. Now, mm, mm, mm. Yesterday we were discussing on this point. Okay. Mm. The Atma is Vijnata and Manta. But he is not Mantavya and Vijnatavya. Therefore, I have known one Atma through the agency of Shrotrutva, Mantrutva ityadi said by Purvapakshi stands refuted there. Hmm. Then Purvapakshi again starts discussion. He Nanu Shrotrutwadi Dharmavan Atma. The self has got the Shrotrutwadi Dharma. Ashrotrutwadi cha prasiddham Atmana. And about the Ashrotrutva of the Atma also, prasiddham gets said in the Shastras. किमत्र विषमं पश्यसि? Then why do you say what I said is wrong? Where Atma is Shrotru, Mantru, in that way can be known. And if that is so through Mantru, how can it be Ashrotru Amantru? Therefore, somehow Shruti Mata, for whatever reason she might have given it, but it may not be right. Therefore, Shrotru Mantru alone is right. In that way, the Jiva Atma can be known. Shrota and Manta. Now, this question ka answer Siddhanti gives. What he says, Yadyapi tava na vishamam, even in you if there is no vishamam, tatapi mamatu vishamam pratibhati. But I find a vipratisiddham vishamam, some contradiction in what you are saying. Katham. So, what is Purvapakshi's thought? He says, yes, in the Shruti about the Atma, it is said some place as Shrota, some as Ashrota. Some place it is said as Manta, in other place Amanta. Some place it as Vijnata, another Avijnata. What to justify his point of accepting the presence of one Jiva Atma? He says is the Shrota, Manta, Vijnata about the Atma is said, na? That is true. The other thing which is said, Ashrota, Amanta, Vijnata, not true. Why? How can the same thing be both? दोनों में एक ही होना चाहिए. तो हम जो कह रहे हैं ये करेक्ट है. He says. Siddhanti, Siddhanti's thought always is what? To prove what is said by Shruti Mata as correct. He has none of his own opinion. His point is what Shruti Mata says. Now in the Shruti, both are said. Shrota bhi hai, Ashrota bhi. Manta hai, Amanta. Vijnata, Avijnata, Drashta, Adrashta. So that point he is bringing out. Very interesting. So that what Shruti said should not be refuted. If you make a habit of rejecting what Shruti says, everything you will reject thereafter, nothing remains. Therefore, श्रुति में जो कहा उसको स्वीकार करते हुए ही श्रुति में फाइनली क्या कहा उसको भी हमें समझते हुए वो जो सुपरफिशियल कॉन्ट्राडिक्शन जो है उसको हमें पार करना. देयर इज नो कॉन्ट्राडिक्शन इन श्रुति माता. She is saying what she is saying perfect only in all conviction. But we at we are always at one or the other biasnesses. The conditioned mind intellect. Therefore, कभी कोई कहीं समझते हैं एक्सेप्ट करते हैं, कहीं कोई नहीं समझते हैं रिजेक्ट करते हैं. So problem is in our own equipment and its debilities. We have to rectify there. देखो what he says is कि यदा असौ श्रोता, when the Atma is Shrota, tada namanta. At that time he is not doing the manana kriya, therefore he is not a manta. Reversely, yada manta, when he is doing mananam, tada na Shrota. That time he is not a Shrota. So, tatra evam sati. This being so, sati pakshe Shrota manta, pakshe na Shrota na apimanta. Therefore, pakshe partially he is Shrota. Because when he is Shrota, he is not Manta. When he is Manta, he is not Shrota. Therefore, पक्ष में श्रोता पक्ष में मनता है. So to पक्ष में विज्ञाता पक्ष में अविज्ञाता. पक्ष में दृष्टा पक्ष में अदृष्टा. In that way, what said in by the Shruti in both places, that is Shrota and Ashrota, these are to be accepted, understood this way. पक्ष भाव से. Then Siddhanti again puts a point in front of Purvapakshi. He says, Yada evam. Then this is what the Paksha Roop say, both said by Shruti Mata are right. Yada evam tada Shrotrutvadi Dharmavanatma. The Atma does the Shravanadi Kriya. Ashrotratvadi Dharmavan is also अश्रोतृत्व. पक्ष के रूप में दोनों स्वीकृत है. In this being so, va iti samshaya sthane katam tava navaishamyam? Then how can your samshaya is without vishamata? It has got a vishamata. That is only Shrota Manta. That way the Atma can be known. No, Ashrota Manta means diya gaya hai. Now I will give you an example. He says, Yada Devadatta gachati, when Devadatta is moving, tada nastata, at that time he is not stationary. Ganta eva is in motion, movement. Yada tishtati, when he is standing at one place, na ganta, at that time he is not moving anywhere. Tishtati means seated or standing. Tada na ganta, at that time sthata eva, isn't it? Tada, therefore, of this Devadatta, asya paksha eva gantrutvam statrutvam cha. Therefore, his movement is not eternal and permanent. It is pakshika. So too is being stationary also is not permanent, eternal. It is pakshika. Therefore, na nityam gantrutvam statrutvam va. So is being stationary, is being moving. Both of them are not permanent. Pakshika. In the same way, when Atma is doing one, it is not doing other. Therefore, Pakshika is a Shrota Manta. Pakshika Ashrota Amanta. That's how he brought the point to say what Shruti Mata said is not wrong. What Purvaksh was saying, Shrota Manta is accepting to prove his point about the presence of Jiva. Ashrota Amanta is not accepting. He says कि ऐसे बताया होगा गलत होगा श्रुति का. Because very superficially, if you see, same one cannot be श्रोता अश्रोता. उस दृष्टि से ऐसे बोल दिया होगा गलत श्रुति माता ने. शंकर भगवान टॉलरेट नहीं करेंगे if somebody says Shruti is wrong. Now, Shankar Bhagavan again putting the paksha of the Kanadaya. Anuvadins they are called. Kanade. Kanada Rushi. They also accept Atma's Pakshavada of being a doer or knower. But what the mistake they also do is by just saying the Pakshavada of the Atma, they give the doership, knowership to Atma permanently. In Vedanta, what is done? As per Shastra, as per Yukti, Atma is Paksharupena Jnata, Paksharupena Avijnata. Shrota, Ashrota, Manta, Manta. Paksharupena as per Shruti. But another Rupena, the Atman being a pure consciousness level of being Drashta Vijnata permanently is there with him as a Sakshi without being influenced by anything. Because he and his nature has to be permanent, na? Therefore, the permanent दृष्टि का एक दृष्टि है, लोअर लेवल के पक्ष दृष्टि का एक दृष्टि है. If you can reconcile all these three, paksha drishti se shrota, and also again paksha drishti se ashrota. Eternal drishti se eternal shrota, because he is eternal and eternally he is consciousness. Why paksha drishti se shrota ashrota? It will be told in the future 2 paragraphs. है ना? Through the upadhi, when you see, when the upadhi is attending that, functioning in that, then that time it is seeing. When the upadhi is withdrawn from it, it is not seeing it. Secondly, no upadhi can permanently be with one thing, or the atma also cannot be with one upadhi all the time. And when I am using the upadhi of the eye, certainly I see the forms, color, shapes. At that time, I don't see through the ears. Listen through the ears. तो पाक्षिकता आ ही गया ना. But as a pure consciousness, Its glory is something different, where whether the Indriyas used or not, through them something seen or not, whether the Indriyas are there or not, it is eternally there. That is me. Okay. Tata. Now, this point is what is said in the next two paras. We have explained in advance so that an idea comes as to what is being discussed. Now, tata eva atra, tataiva, in the same way, atra, in this context, kanadayaha pashyanti. Kanadi philosophers also, this is what they visualize. What they do? Pakshapraptena eva shrotrutvadina atma uchyate. Shrota manta ityadi vachanat. So, they concludingly say Atma is Shrota and Manta, 100%, like you said. Hey, Purapakshi. Pakshaprapteneva, they accept the Pakshaprapti of the Shrotrutva ityadi of the Atma. है ना? They understand Atma Pakshika Rupena eva Shrota Manta. And yet, because of Pakshika Rupa also, they consider him to be, decide him to be Shrota Manta. The Ashrota Manta, they miss it. They leave it, which is not right. That's why I am putting their point. They are also like you. That's what he is telling the Purvapakshi. Now, what do they say? The Kanadi ki Sanyogajatvam Ayoga Padyam cha Jnanasya hi achakshate. Sanyogajatva means in their idea, the jnana comes to the Atma through the Sanyoga with the Jnaya Vastu of any Shabda Sparsha Pasanda, through the Sanyoga with the Mano and Indriyas. संयोग से जन्म होता है ज्ञान का. किसको होता है ज्ञान? आत्मा को. किसका ज्ञान होता है? शब्द स्पर्शों का. किससे होता है? कैसे होता है? संयोग से. व्हाट संयोग है? द मन एंड Indriyas. The object should be there, it should be in right distance, it should be well lit properly. Then my eye should be focused towards that. The eye should be healthy and intact. Then behind the eye, the mind has to be there. That mind should be alert, single pointed. Then through this phenomena, the Atma then knows that particular any object. This called as samyoga se jnana ka utpatti. Without all these indriya, etc., Atma ko jnana nahi hota. That's what is their point. That is called sanyoga jatvam. Second is what? Ayoga padyam cha jnanasya. Ayoga padyam means yugapat, all jnanams cannot happen, which was discussed in two paragraphs back. What was it? With if one upadhi, the eyes are used, other upadhis are not used. Therefore, yugapat, all are not possible. If the ears are used, sound is focused on, you are not able to focus on the mana, or sorry, the through the eyes onto the form. Yugapat nahi honge wo. You may shift from that to this, and this is seen. From this to that, that is heard. From that to that, this may be smelt. So quickly, with a very swift speed, you may change using upadhis, but at one time, all upadhi using and all perceptions possible nahi hai. Ayugapat, it is called as yugapat nahi hai. Yugapat means simultaneously. The non-simultaneousness and the media requirement, these two are accepted by Kanada for the Atma to have the Jnanam. So, पाक्षिक है, लेकिन they say it as Atma Shrota Manta in this way. Then, what it is? Darshayanti cha anyatra mana abhuvam. They give an example also. Anyatra mana abhuvam. My mind was somewhere else, somewhere else. Therefore, na adarsham ityadi. Therefore, I could not see. Have you seen that number bus has gone? No, 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 my mind was somewhere else. I didn't attend it. I didn't see which is the bus gone. I didn't know the number or anything. तो मन वहां नहीं था मेरा, इसलिए मुझे उसका दर्शन या श्रवण नहीं हुआ. Like the child is busy in TV watching, the mother shouts 5 times. His mind is not there, therefore, मैं busy था, मैं मन उधर था, I could not listen, as we say, no. So in this way, Ayoga Padyam, because something else he is doing, he is not doing this. Second is uh, the Sayoga Jatva, कि the Sayoga of the Indriya required. Indriya भी मन भी. With this example, they prove संयोग होना चाहिए with the उपाधिज, then योगपद नहीं होता है, अयुगपद होता है आत्मा को विषयों का ज्ञान. Then इति इत्यादि. Then युगपद ज्ञान अनुपपत्ति ही मनसः लिंगम इति च न्याय्यम. This is another say कि इत्यादि युगपद ज्ञान अनुपत्ति. Then मनसः लिंगम इति च न्याय्यम. What is that? It is the logical thing to the mind that the mind cannot have simultaneously the jnanam of all. It will be, there will be micro millisecond difference distance definitely will be there. So when Kanada's point is quoted, Purapakshi says, you quoted them, you told they are also like us. So okay, we are like them, but why did you say this? What the point you want to convey? So what? So, भवतु एवं, will made me so, the काणादों का point. किम तव नष्टम, यदि एवं स्यात्, आपको क्या नुकसान है ऐसा होने से, और क्या पॉइंट आपको मिलता है इसको यहाँ सामने रखने से. देन सिद्धार्थ सेज, अस्तु एवं तव इष्टम चेत, लेट इट बी सो इफ यू लाइक इट. श्रुति अर्थः तो न संभवति, बट अकॉर्डिंग टू श्रुति तो दिस मीनिंग ऑफ पाक्षिक दर्शन मात्र से calling the Atma as Drashta or Shrota, in the Shruti it is not acceptable. Then again Purvapakshi says, Kim na Shrota Manta Ityadi Shrutyartaha. Therefore, finally what do you want to say? Therefore, you are refuting my point that the Atma is not a Shrota, not a Manta. Siddhanta says, no, 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 no. I can't say you also are wrong completely. Because Shruti says, na Shrota, na Manta Ityadi Vachanat. I am not refuting you that he is not Shrotamanta. I am telling you to accept the other Paksha also. I am agreeing Shrotamanta. But it also says Nashrota Namanta. So you accept my point also in that way. Then again the miserable he becomes. Our Pura Pakshi. Nanu Pakshikatvena Pratyuktan Tvaya. By bringing your logic of Pakshikatva, the beingness of both of these, Shrota, Shrota, hey Siddhanti, you have rejected, no? Finally, he comes to this explanation. What exactly he wants to say. Very, very important discussion. For conveying to this point, all the discussions, all the logics examples were given. Dekho, for me to talk to you anything or anybody, Shastra alone is the authority. What is said in Shastra alone, I talk. न नित्यमेव श्रोतृत्वादि अभ्युपगमात्. First of all, the pure self is Nitya Shrota. He will slowly prove that point. First quotation. Nahi Shrotuhu Shrutehe Viparilopaha Vidyate. In that Brihadaranyaka, 4th chapter, 3rd Khanda, 17th mantra. है ना, न तो न श्रोतृत्वा, सॉरी, नहीं श्रोतुः श्रुतेः विपरिलोभः विद्यते. अनदर प्लेस कंटिन्यू में द्रष्टुः दृष्टेः विपरिलोभः न विद्यते. सो श्रोता द्रष्टा इज परमात्मा. ऑफ हिम द श्रोतृत्व द्रष्टृत्व कैपेसिटी, उसका विपरिलोप एब्सेंस न विद्यते इज नेवर पॉसिबल. इट इज इटर्नल. This is the main point. Hmm? Then, having heard this quotation of Shastra, the Nityatva of the Shrotrutva, Drashtrutva, Jnatrutva of the Atma, as told by the Shastra, one or two questions Purvapakshi raises. He says, Evam Tarhi, if this is so, then Nityameva Shrotruttvadi Abhipagame, if the Shrotrutva of the Atma is taken to be the Nitya, hmm, then Pratyaksha Viruddha Yugapad Jnana Utpattihi Ajnana Abhavacha Atmana Kalpita Syat. Tacha Anishtam Iti. Hmm? Then Pratyaksha Viruddha Yugatvat Jnana Utpatti. Then if it is Nitya, the Atma as a Shrota, Jnata, etc., then the प्रत्यक्ष का विरुद्ध युगपत तत्व जो ज्ञान का है वो फिर वहां पहले हमने नहीं माना था कि नॉलेज के नॉट बी युगपत. Yugapat means simultaneously, one after the other. That is pratyaksham. An example given. Even my mind is attending to one thing, other thing I am not listening. Pakshikatva, not yugapatva. But if you give nityata to the Atma of Shrotrutvam Jnatrutvam, so he should all the time should listen as a Shrota. He should all the time see as a Drashta. When you say all the time to this, all the time to that, then the Yugapat दोनों का परसेप्शन का स्वीकृति होना है. But we have rejected earlier कि युगपद is impossible. Then also अज्ञान अभावश्च आत्मनः कल्पितः स्यात्. Hmm. Uh, that we have to refute the point that at one point the Atman doesn't know this wala, we have to reject it. No, like he said, no, have you heard this? आत्मा को ही पूछ रहा है. आत्मा ने कहा आई हैव नॉट हर्ड. Therefore, it has become an ajnana to him. Why didn't you hear? Because my mind was somewhere else. When your mind was somewhere else to see that, why didn't you hear through the listen ears? Means, why didn't you do yugapat? Simultaneously seeing through the eyes, simultaneously listening through the ear. Why you couldn't do? Because युगपत ज्ञान असंभव. युगपत ज्ञान असंभव है, simultaneously ज्ञान असंभव है. Therefore, at one point when the Atma is gaining jnanam, other place he is ajnanam only. Therefore, हे सिद्धांति, by quoting the Shastra, नहि श्रोतुः श्रुतेः विपरिलोपः स्यात्, नहि द्रष्टुः दृष्टेः विपरिलोपः स्यात्. Huh? By quoting this Shastra, if you bring Nityatvam to the Atma of Shrotrutva, Mantrutva, Jnatrutva, Drashtutva, ityadi, then these two things get refuted. What is that? Asambhavana of the Yugapat Jnanam is refuted. Because when the Atma is Nitya and Nitya it is listening, Nitya it is seeing, therefore नित्य दोनों को ऐड किया तो साइमल्टेनियस आ गया ना. फिर युगवत्तम आ गया. तो we are rejecting the earlier point. So too, when the Atma is attending one, other it is not attending. Therefore, at that level, it has to be avidyavan or ajnani. So therefore, that ajnanatva of the Atma also stands rejected because नित्य है वो. नित्य हर इंद्रियों को यूज कर रहा है, देख रहा है. Okay, तच्च अनिष्टम. But then we are rejecting what we have concluded together. So देखो, what Purvapakshi said, that is partially correct, partially wrong. That he has proved. What Shruti Mata partially said sometime as a Jnata, another way Ajnata, Drashta, Drashta. Shruti cannot be wrong. Therefore, she has to be true. Therefore, for that, he took the help of Kanada and all. But the same Shruti finally talks about the Atma as eternal Shrota, eternal Drashta. Be attentive. not from the standpoint of Shravanam Darshanam through the Indriyas, but from the standpoint of it being eternal. It being eternal. है ना? वो अपने नित्यत्व के दृष्टि से बताते हैं. So when this point was asked by this पूर्व पक्षी, सिद्धांति का एक्सप्लेनेशन क्या है? न उभय दोषोपपत्ति ही. No, both the doshas cannot be accepted. There is no dosha. Neither the Yugapat Tattva is refuted, nor non-knowingness of the Atma. When it is knowing something, other it is not knowing. No, that also is not refuted. How? Explanation is Atmanaha Shrutyadi Shrotruttvadi Dharmavatva Shrutehe. Hmm. Hmm. कि आत्मनः of the self, श्रुति आदि, श्रोतृत्व आदि धर्मवत्व श्रुतेः. It is the Shrota of the Shruti. So it is Kena Upanishad is quoting. And yat Shrotrena na Shrunute, but Yena Shrotram idam Shrutam. So the Shravana Indriya ka Shrota hai. See, Yena Shrotram idam Shrutam. श्रवण इंद्रिय का श्रोता के रूप में आत्मा है. सो टू दर्शन इंद्रिय के दृष्टा के रूप में आत्मा है ना. ये चक्षुषा न पश्यति, बट ये न चक्षुंषि पश्यति, तदेव ब्रह्म. तो he says आत्मनः श्रुत्यादि श्रोतृत्वादि धर्मवत्व श्रुतेः. ओके. नाउ अनित्यानां मूर्तानां च चक्षुरादीनां दृष्टि आदि अनित्यम एव संयोग वियोग धर्मिणा. So the indriyas, chakshuradi, which are murta, they are specified. है ना, मूर्त मतलब स्पेसिफाइड है वो. They are in the golaka, whatever is there in the front, that only it will see. It won't see the back side. And this indriya, the chakshu, is not at any other golaka of the ears or nose, etc. So that it is not there in the ears or nose, it cannot look behind, and it is stationed in these eyelids. All this is called as a murtatva of this chakshurindriya. So chakshuradi indriya, all of them, they are all murtiman, because they are fixed in their own particular golakas, and they are fixed in their own respective work. They are not lavishly left free that any indriya can do anything and anywhere it can see. No. So this is the first meaning of Chakshuradi Golaka. They are all Murta. Second is what? They are Anityana. They are not Nitya. है ना. चक्षुरादि इंद्रिय नित्य नहीं है ना. कभी भी कोई भी ब्लाइंड हो सकते हैं, कभी भी कोई डम हो सकते हैं. And everybody is not having the chakshu drishti or the ability to listen. They are deaf people also. Therefore, indriyas are anitya and they are murtiman. So, with those indriyas which are anitya and which are murtiman, chakshuradinam drishtyadi anityameva. For them, their particular ability to see, that drishti is also anitya only. जब आंख अच्छा है तो it will see, नहीं है तो it cannot see. So to संयोग वियोग धर्मिणाम. Why this drishti anidya? When sanyog ho, healthy ho, pair of eyes, then the darshana kriya is happening. है ना. When the eye ka sanyog or contact with that object, it is not happening, viyoga, or there is a defect in the eye because it is anitya, the darshana will not happen. So in all indriyas, these two problems are there. They are murta, they are anitya. So they have sanyoga, viyoga with their respective objects. Consequently, darshana and adarshana. All this is to prove the temporary nature of the indriyas and the perceptions. Now, example. Yatha hai agni hai jvalanam trunadi samyoga jatvat tadvat. है ना. यतः अग्नेः जलनम Trunadi samyogajatvat tadvat, like fire. It has a power of burning, but it won't express just like that. Na? Only when there's a blade of grass, then the Agni burns it. If it's not there, Agni is silent. Vina indhan ka inexpressed hota hai. So to Indriyas, only when the objects are in front, respective, then only they listen. The संयोग होने से वो काम करते हैं. वियोग है या इंद्रियों में कोई कमियां है, that time it cannot perceive. Now, this is not the case with the pure Atma. What is the pure Atma? Natu Nityasya, the Atma is Nitya. And then Amurtasya, Atma is not specified. Like the eye can see only the, I can do only the seeing work, ears can only listen. And in this way, Murta Roop nahi hai Atma ka. So it is not Anitya like the Indriyas, which can get damaged anytime. So Nitya and Amurta Swarupa Atma ka same way Sanyoga Viyoga is not there. Samyoga Viyoga Dharminaha Sanyogaja Drushyadi Anitya Dharmavatvam na Sambhavati. है ना? It being this way eternal, the Sanyoga Viyoga temporariness which is there for the Upadhis because the limitation, for the Atma it is not there. एक बार संयोग हुआ, एक बार वियोग हुआ, वो लिमिटेशन रहने वाले उपाधियों को रहता है, मूर्त रूप उपाधियों को रहता है, अनित्य रूप उपाधियों को. बट आत्मा बीइंग नित्य, आत्मा बीइंग अमूर्त, द कमिंग एंड गोइंग, संयोग वियोग, दे वर हैविंग दर्शन एंड नॉट हैविंग दर्शन, दिस थिंग विल नॉट बी देयर इन द आत्मा. सो न तो नित्यस्य अमूर्तस्य असंयोग वियोग धर्मिणः संयोगज दृष्टि आदि अनित्य धर्मवत्वं संभवति. Therefore, there is no temporariness of ability to see or not see in the Atma. So, seeingness of the Atma is, therefore, it is eternal. Tatacha Shruti again. Earlier said Shrotu Shrute Viparlopana Syat. Here, Nahi Drashtu Drushte Viparilopha Vidyate. Ityadyaha. So, to that, these such quotations. Now, what is therefore after these explanations, conclusion? Evam tarhi. Therefore, the conclusion is what? Dve drushti. There are two drushtis that are there. Two darshanams are there. What are they? One is chakshusha anitya drushtihi. Second is what? Drushtihi nitya atmanaha. One is the anitya drushti of the chakshuhu. Second is the nitya drushti of the atma. And in that nitya drishtitva of the Atma, kya hai? When the chakshu is there, it sees it. When the chakshu is not seeing for any reason, the Atma has not disappeared. It sees the non-seeing of the chakshu, non-listening of the ears, and a non-tasting of the tongue. All that, both the things, existing और नॉन एग्जिस्टिंग, फंक्शनिंग और नॉन फंक्शनिंग, दोनों को एलिमिनेट करना आत्मा का स्वरूप लक्षण है. So one thing is said about the ear, eyes, other things also. Tatacha dve shruti. There are two listenings. One, shrotrasya anitya shrutihi, the temporary nature of listening by the ears. Then nityacha atma swarupasya, then the nitya shravan of the atma vastu. Then tata dvemati विज्ञातः बाह्य अबाह्ये एवं ही एव तथा च इयं श्रुति उत्पन्ना भवति. Therefore, दृष्टेः द्रष्टा, श्रुतेः श्रोता इत्यादि is the श्रुति which justifies this point. Okay. Now, an example is given. लोके अपि प्रसिद्धम. In the world also, this is always seen. What is that? Chakshushaha timira agama apayayoho nashta drushtihi jata drushtihi iti. When the cataract happens to the eye, then the drushti is gone. When the cataract is removed, again drushti is gained for the eye. Iti chakshushaha dushtehe anityatvam. In this way, the anityata of the eye is proved. When there is a cataract, it cannot see. When there is no cataract, it is removed. Again, it is seeing. Therefore, its nityata is not there. It is anitya. कोई प्रॉब्लम आ सकता है उसमें, then अपना दृष्टि अनित्य हो सकता है. But tata cha shruti matyadinam. Hmm. Tata cha shruti matyadinam. So too the shruti, mati, ityadi also, when the conditions are conducive, then they see, if not, no. है ना, ईयर में कोई बहुत प्रॉब्लम हो गया तो वो नहीं सुनाई देगा, कुछ लोगों का कम हो जाता है इनर ईयर का सुनने का. नो आफ्टर टेलिंग अबाउट the common experiences with the indriyas. Now about the atma he is saying कि आत्मदृष्टियादीनां च नित्यत्वं प्रसिद्धम एव लोके. But the atma का दृष्टि नित्य है. That's what we said now. Whether the object is there or not in front, whether the eye is seeing it or not, the atma will see both the presence and absence. It is never gone. It is eternally there. Okay. Ah. Vadatihi, an example is given. Then Udruta Chakshu Swapne Adyamaya Bhrata Drashtaha iti. Udruta Chakshu means the one whose eyes have bechara gone away. He has become blind or born blind. Then he says, yesterday I slept, in my dream I have seen my brother. And when the chakshu is not there, how he is able to see the brother? Because the consciousness, the self is always there. Even for a totally blind person, or who have got blindness during some reason or the other, or the one who is able to see the eye, use the, matlab has the vision of the eye perfectly. So the presence and absence, ability, debility, functioning, non-functioning of every of the upadhis of Chakshu, Shrotram ityadi are always being aware by the Atma. Therefore, Atma's awareness wala drishti ya darshan ya capacity, it is eternally there. Okay. So, tata, another thing, tata avagata badhiryaha, the one who is deaf in his ears, swapne shrutah mantraha ityadi, he says in the dream, I heard some mantras. अरे कान से तो नहीं सुनता, कैसे सुना वो? अरे इनसाइड द आत्मा इज देयर, है ना, इट इज एबल टू लिसन ऑल दैट. ओके. नाउ यदि चक्षुः संयोगजा एव आत्मनः नित्या दृष्टिः तत् नाशे नश्येतु. If the eye's drishti or the drishti of the self depends on the drishti of the eye. When the eye gets destroyed or not able to see, the Atma also should not be there to see. बट आत्मा को तो ये भी पता है कि आंख दिख रहा है कि नहीं दिख रहा, कान सुन रहा है कि नहीं सुन रहा है. Therefore, the Atma's ability of knowing through its awareness is eternal because Atma is eternal awareness. This is the point. Now, mhm, quotations are given. Tada udruta chakshu swapne nilapitadina pashet. Then the one who has no eyes, how is seeing yellow, blue colors, etc. in the swapna and reporting? And ahi drashtu drushte, the viparlopaha. The drishti of the drashta never goes away. This shruti always comes. Then ityadhya cha shruti anupavanna syat. Therefore, tat chakshu purushaha yena swapne pashyati ityadhya cha shruti. Other places, that is the purusha who in the swapna he sees the dream world, which is other than the Jagrat world in the Jagrat Avastha. So, how come when the Jagrat Avastha is folded in the Swapna, Swapna Avastha is created, Swapna Jagat, and who is seeing it? The one who is able to see the absence of Jagrat Jagat, but able to see the Jagat in the Swapna, he is the Atma. Such type of Shrutis also tell about the Nityatva of the Atma's ability to know. So, by this, all what is brought is the self as pure eternal consciousness. In the Shruti, it is Shrota, Ashrota, Manta, Amata. It is said because of the conditionings. Upadhis, not actually he is. है ना? Paramatma, when the eyes are not functioning, therefore eye is not able to see. He knows that also. And when his eye is functioning, and through the functioning, when he sees something and reports, self knows even that also. Okay. Then we have two more paragraphs or two or three. Tomorrow, when we thoroughly study them, then this Eka Atma It is through the upadhi he alone become drashta, drashta, shrota, shrota. But within himself, he cannot be talked as any of these because a pure consciousness only beyond all upadhis. So this sorts out the question of the Purvapakshi. Now, second adhyaya mein, the three janmas of this Paramatma are explained. And all those also are at the ignorance level. In the pure level, the self is eternal, neither born nor grows nor dies. All that will be proved. Then that Paramatma is Kevala Jnana Sarupa. Therefore, the Jnana Sarupa is called as Prajnanam. So that Prajnanam is Brahma. That is how to that point all these things lead to. And that Prajnanam Brahma, which is the Lakshana of Param Brahma, is called as Mahavakya, which comes in this very Upanishad. So to that we will reach slowly. We have to do this second adhyayam, then third adhyay के अंत में वो बताते हैं. So here we just tried little bit to study Adi Shankara's Bhashya toward the end of Prathamodhyaya, beginning of the first Dvitiyodhyaya, that there are not three Atma, there is one only. And why Shruti says Shrota, Ashrota, all of that, this is how it has to be understood. Finally, the pure self in us is there eternally. Who is aware of Upadhi's presence, their functioning, debility, ability, in their absence also it is there. So that is what is me, the real self. So some more thoughts. Let us share tomorrow. Om 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 Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om शांति 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 हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो परमशिभ्यो परब्रह्मणे श्रुतिमात्रे नमः तत्सत् ब्रह्मार्पणम् अस्तु. Mm, mm. After the Dvitiya Adhyaya, the first introductory bhashyam which we just postponed, few थोड़ा है वो भी थोड़ा सा एक बार हम देखेंगे. Then there is no asantushti. There will be a trupti that even that also covered. Thank you.